he says to you, he says to me, for us to be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Here, Ephesians chapter 3 says this. He said, again, he's praying the same thing, that you would be strengthened with might by his Spirit in the inner man, that Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith. Now, think about this. That does not mean that Jesus only hangs out, like he comes like a hotel and, you know, he's passing through, and every time you got faith and you go, my faith is real big, Jesus. Oh, thank you for coming and hanging out with me. And he sort of shows up in your heart. Like it's a hotel. He's going to check out when things aren't going well. That's not what that means. It means that faith doesn't, let me say this again and again and again and again. Faith does not make something true. We believe something because it is true. If you're accepting by faith that Christ is dwelling in your heart, but he says be strengthened with the might, the reality that everything that the Father did for the Son in the resurrection, that same Jesus is living inside of you. That resurrected Jesus in holiness, in acceptance, in the beloved, in power, in glory, in the fullness of all that he is inside of you and I right now. He said, get strong in that, and the more that you believe that truth, the more you will realize his dwelling inside of you. The more you will realize how big God is. He's tabernacling, he's not hoteling. And so he says, be strong in the Lord. Be strong in the Lord. In the inner man, he says in that Ephesians 3 passage, be strong. That your inner life, talking about warfare, because stuff happens to you, and it ain't good, and it ain't the gospel. And the problem we have in the church so much is that we're blaming God for the things that are going on in our lives, and then that just undermines everything else as well. It takes your faith completely away. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Be strong in the inner man. He's talking about that when you begin to see the resurrection, when you begin to see what Christ did and who he is in his glory, you're going to start finding a strength that is greater than you knew before. Let me tell you something. It says be strong. When it says be holy, it does not mean for you to do a checklist and finally arrive at holiness. I've got my list here. My pastor says I can't do this, I can't do that, and you can't wear that in church, and you shouldn't do that with that girl. Be holy means live from the fact that you're already holy. Let your behavior begin. So when it says be strong, he's saying the strength of God is already inside of you. Resurrection strength is inside of you. You become more aware of it, you become stronger because you're becoming aware of something that already exists inside of you. You start living out of the strength of the resurrection. Every attack on your life, let's just call it sickness. I'm not saying that every sickness immediately is from the devil, though if you want to go all the way back to the beginning, we can hang that on him. But let's just say sickness. Let's say the enemy, Satan, gives you some kind of disease. The disease is not the warfare. Watch this. We think that what he's done in exercising his power is the warfare. It's not the warfare. I mean, if that was the case, sudden death, sudden glory. I mean, he kills you, you get to go straight to heaven. I mean, that's really not that much of a victory for him. What's the deal? It is that attack on your life is designed to send a message to you. That warfare is not the sickness. The warfare is it sends a message to you that says, I guess God doesn't love me anymore. Where's God? Maybe if God really loved me, I wouldn't be going through this. Or, I thought the Bible says that I've got authority. And we just start going through all this stuff. Maybe there's some sin in my life that let this happen. And we start looking inward and looking at our failures. And we give up our rights because now we've disqualified ourselves from chapter 1 and started living in a lie that makes us powerless. Does that make sense?